Welcome back, everybody, to episode 14 of my Luck of the Irish series. Today's film is, I wouldn't say it's a well-known horror film, but the director's film that I think he was going to do after this one was actually the remake. Yeah, the remake of The Crow. This film is called The Hallow. In case you don't know what the Hallow is, it's about a family who moves into a remote mill house in Ireland where they find themselves in a fight for survival with demonic creatures living in the woods. I was very impressed with this film. I got a lot of positive things, but it might not be that long of a review compared to some of the other ones, but we'll see how it is. First off, it's beautifully shot, and I think they chose to film it on location to give a little bit of authenticity, and that worked very well. Kind of in the same vein as, I'd say, Without Name. The forest that's in the film is a little bit similar to the one that was in that movie. The movie was well framed. The chemistry between all the characters feels very real. The cinematography is perfect. The effects are well executed. An extension of that, the creature effects that we see later on in the film, they're very believable, they're well executed. I have here that they were terrifying. So like the creature designs were different, very intense in parts of the film, which is very good. I noticed that some films nowadays don't really have that intense factor. So when you come across one that actually has it, it adds a lot to the film. It's perfectly lit, even in the scenes where it takes place at night. The poster shows the main character, well, in the film he gets I forget what a scythe. I think that's what the farm tool is called. He gets one of those, wraps the blade up and lights it on fire, and it lights up like the forest scenes perfectly. I'm sure they had other lights on the behind the scenes stuff, but yeah, it was well lit. I thought that was a cool way to use that kind of tool. I know it's not a weapon. I'm not sure of any film that actually shows that as like the main weapon, so it's really cool to see that kind of thing in it. I think they kind of use a variation of that tool in Behind the Mask, which I'll probably get to at some point. I love any horror film that's like very deeply rooted in like folklore and stuff, because it kind of adds in like a fantasy type element to it, and it just creates a little bit more entertaining of a film than having it being a slasher film like Friday the 13th or something like that, which is also good. It's perfectly paced. Editing is very well done in the film. Corin Hardy did a great job in directing it, and it's very easy to see from this film how he got the job as the potential director of the remake of The Crow with Jason Momoa. After seeing this movie, before I kind of felt like that was a good team to bring the story back. The movie Curse had other plans, but like after seeing this, it just reinforced those original thoughts I had about the Crow remake and how it felt like the right team behind it. Maybe it was the right team, but it just wasn't the right time yet. There's a scene during the credits which kind of does leave it open for a potential sequel, but it also ends on the right note. I was very impressed with Corin Hardy's debut feature, so much so that I have 3 numbers in the rating out of 10. I don't know if that's allowed, but if I had to give this a rating, I'd give it a 9.98. It's really close to being a perfect film, and it's likely one that I'm gonna buy a little later to have a physical copy of it. So almost bringing it kind of full circle. The movie I did at the very beginning of this series, The Hole in the Ground, it tackles pretty much the Neolithic structures, topic of changelings in this film as well. While that one was more, I guess, a more grounded approach to those topics, this one kind of just went full on and went the fantasy route with it, which was very cool. If you get a chance to check it out, I highly recommend it. Now, I've seen one other film by Corin Hardy. It didn't have the same kind of fantasy elements to it, but it was still a fairly decent film that I'll probably get to at some point. It's called The Nun. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you're new. Stay tuned for the next few ones. Don't have many left of this series, so see you in the next one.